Yeah.
I was gonna say, that might be your first.
No, I think what he's referring to is, I was gonna talk just for a second about the Kenny Arnold Classic and Kenny Arnold in particular. I mean, obviously, he was a critical part of some really good teams. Terrific player, and had some health issues subsequent to playing here. And I think one of the greatest examples of brotherhood that I've ever seen is how his teammates cared for him for 30 years. In particular, Mike Henry, but many others as well. You know, and the turnout, you know, for his funeral that of course we attended, and there was a huge Iowa presence there, but the entire basketball community in Chicago, you know, reflected, you know, what people thought of him as a person. I remember Coach Spiro, who was his teammate, either it was his teammate or he was the GA on that staff. I can't remember the exact years, but it was very close to that whole situation. And he talked to the team about it when we invited Kenny back when he was still alive, and he got really emotional about it, you know, and you could see how he remained, as did everyone else, connected to Kenny, the kind of person that he was. So, you know, we named an award after him that we're very proud of. We give that to at the banquet every year. You know, and want those individuals to exemplify, you know, the courage and character that Kenny had. So we're just proud to honor him and looking forward to the game.
All right, questions for Coach? Fran, what went into that? Whose idea was it to make this the Kenny Arnold Classic?
Well, once we decided to kind of do our own tournament format, which we did for many years, as you know, and then kind of got away from it because
you brought a team for it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the MTE rules changed, so there's more people going to those events in various locations, and you know, people don't do or institutions, you know, don't do Christmas tournaments anymore. There was a lot in those days. So you know, once we decided to do this, you know, we talked about sponsorships and who we would recognize, and could think of no one better than Kenny. We talked about it, and it was very much appreciated by the guys that were on that team and were teammates of his. And they're all going to be here on Sunday. We'll have a reception with them.
Fran, when you bring in transfers to come and visit, you get all the new freshmen here. I mean, how much time do you really spend with them, teaching them about whether it be Kenny Arnold, whether it be Chris Street, and some of the important figures about Iowa, and just kind of showcase to them, like, this is what they mean to this community and this state?
You're right. It's different with transfers and then educating the young players. The guys that are here, the guys that follow the program, even when they were in high school and thought about coming here, they're aware. But we continue to engage our former players and make sure that these guys remember those who came before. Because as you all know, there were some great players, some great coaches, very, very proud tradition going back many years. And we have guys come to show up at practice, and they know that they're welcome at all times. If they come for a football game and they want to come to practice, it's encouraged, and you know, we take very seriously the interaction between those guys and our present players. So it's something that is constant. You know, we have you know, one of our former players, actually two, with Kyle Denning, you know, as our director of operations, former players on staff, and you know, so that's something that makes me proud, and something that I wanted to make sure from the minute I got here that they continued.
How do you go about finding MTEs now and maybe doing your own, as opposed to going to Vegas or that $1 million tournament, or
Yeah, well, we haven't been invited to that yet, so that won't be complicated. But, quite frankly, like, we're recruited to play, hey, come play in our event. And then you try to figure out what makes sense. Oftentimes, they're in destination locations, warm weather places, the Caribbean, the Cayman Islands, Maui, all those kinds of places. Used to be Maui and Alaska, right? That was it. And so we'll make some decisions based on, we will make decisions based more on who is in it as opposed to where it is. Do you want to go to a tournament that has 8 teams, or do you want to go to a tournament that has 4 teams, you play twice as opposed to 3 times? Make those kinds of decisions. What fits our schedule based on who else we have that year? And now that we no longer have the Big East and the ACC challenges, then we want to schedule up. And I'm really excited about where we're going this year with regard to Moline, Kansas City, Sioux Falls, and we have fan bases in all of those locations. So I think that's really good. And it gives us some flexibility as to who we want to play from various conferences.
Fran, I'm curious about the 4-spot starting Logi the other night. I know this is kind of the time of year where you can feel some of that stuff out. Do you think you're going to mix that up with like a Seydoux or a Cooper in the starting lineup at any point? Or?
It's possible. They're both playing really well. All 3 of them are playing really well. Logi's a little ahead because he was on the team last year. He knows what we're doing. Those guys will get there, but they're both really good players. And all 3 of them are different. So really, regardless of who starts, they're all going to play a lot.
There was early in the exhibition, like Seydoux was in basically at the 5.
We just went with a smaller lineup. That was nothing by design.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious about what you feel comfortable putting him in that spot.
Well, I felt comfortable with that lineup that was on the floor. We had enough size, based on who our opponent was. So there's times we'll be able to do that and times we won't.
Fran, Brock Harding's mentality just seems like he's already been through an entire college basketball career, just diligent with his work ethic. And you and he both kind of said that he didn't have his best game at his exhibition, but how important is it for a point guard to have that sort of discipline, to have that work ethic, and to understand the bigger picture that there's so much more moving forward this early in his career?
I think it was really important to him to be a really good player last year, which he was, and to kind of grow into, potentially being a starter. He knew he had to earn it, and he's played extremely well from June until now. We don't expect perfection every night, but we expect him to be a floor general. We expect him to engineer a victory. He doesn't feel the pressure to have to score, although he's always been a scorer, and so we'd love for him to score, but I don't want him to feel that pressure. We've got a lot of other really talented offensive players around him, and just knowing and understanding that. But I think his defense has really improved, his physicality. But you're right, his work ethic is unparalleled.
You announced Bill Maxwell's retirement, Bill Maxwell, just the impact that he's made on.
Yeah, he's been here a long time, but he's been with me for pretty much 14 years.
Yeah.
We'll miss him. Andre's taken over. Bill's excited about that. We're excited about that. It's one of his, sort of proteges. A guy that he brought in that he thinks is really talented, and he's really meshed well with our players and our philosophy. But Bill has done a fabulous job, and we're happy for him. He has a position that he's transferring to that he's really excited about, and we want what's best for him.
It's very often that you've got somebody that you've been with for that long. Are there kind of any lasting memories or favorite memories from your time with him?
No, Bill was very serious about his work and connected well with the players. He pushed them hard enough, and that's always a fine line with strength coaches. How do you get the maximum out of each individual? The one thing that that I really value is, yeah, we want them to get stronger, we want them to get bigger and stronger. We want them to become more athletic, but most importantly, we want them to stay healthy. You know, keep them physically fit from a stretching and, you know, nutrition and hydration standpoint so that they get through the season. And he's done a great job.
Fran, I wanted to ask, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Drew Selwell only played 9 minutes the other night, had some turnovers. I guess I'm curious, you think he's just trying to feel things out right now and kind of get used to the team chemistry?
He's doing great. I mean, he'll be a big part of this team. There'll be times he plays a lot more minutes than that. We did place Josh at the point some, so I wanted to do that. But, you know, Drew's practiced really well. He'll be fine.
You mentioned at media day about Cooper. He had a procedure at some point in the offseason, but what was exactly, I guess, just the nature of that?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm really supposed to talk about specifics on that, but he's doing fine now.
Brent, I'm sure you'll figure this out as the season goes along, but I mean, Josh Dix has hit some big shots for you. Peyton Sanford's hit, I don't know how many. Brock was that guy in high school, is not afraid of the moment. I guess when you get to those moments, but you have the sort of team chemistry you have, I mean, how valuable is that you can go to numerous guys and nobody's gonna sit there being like, I need the ball?
I think it's really important because, you know, if you're playing against us, there's, you know, you're coming down the stretch, a lot of guys we can go to get a basket, you know, and we've kind of always had those kind of teams, and I think it's really important that you have multiple weapons, because if you have one or two guys, everybody double teams them or denies them, and the wrong guy shooting the ball. But, you know, we encourage confidence shooting the ball. We have a number of guys that aren't afraid to take that shot. And I'll be honest with you, there's more guys on that list now than probably ever. You know, the guys you mentioned, but, you know, Coop, Seydu, and those guys will shoot the ball. Price, not afraid at all and doing way more off the bounce. Impressed with him. So I'm really excited about that part of our team.
What stands out about Texas A&M Commerce and being able to watch film?
Yeah,
At all yet?
don't have a lot.
Sure.
No, and they've got a ton of new players, not like every other game that you play these days. You know, a really good coach knows what he's doing and building something there. They've got like 4 guys back, I think 11 or 12 new guys. Veterans, guys that have been around, athletic, a lot of athletic power, competitors from what I've seen, you know, guard you, fight you on the glass, I mean, that kind of thing. So yeah, I've been impressed with what I've seen.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Fran.
Thanks, Fran.